Nice little view, huh? So, I'm volunteering at a hostel. And I'm only like day 3 into it. But something I realized this early on is the days of the week don't really matter. Because everyone comes here for vacation. So, every day is like a party. So, I noticed this because I came Wednesday. Wait a minute. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is day 4. I noticed it on Friday where I was like, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. I look at my phone and it's only 9:30. And I'm like, looking at the bottom word and it says Friday. And usually 9:30 on a Friday is unheard of, right? Like, you need to go out and do something. I'm getting over something, but I'm also getting into something. So it's kind of interesting, and I haven't been drinking, I haven't been smoking, so that's why I'm up at 6 in the morning and hit my run at 7 in the morning. But you get beautiful isolated views like this where it's just like no one, and you kind of have your own little personal private time, because when you're in a hostel you're constantly around people. And I noticed it last night that my energy was just drained, which I hope isn't an indicator of how this is going to go, because I signed up for 2 months and I'm already day 3 drained. But I kind of feel recharged. And another thing I was thinking while I was running was, this environment is a little different than if I was back working a job I hated, trying to do videos and music, because I get to talk to different people and they kind of spark you in like different ways, so to speak. Like, you get I guess like inspiration from people you would like never have met before. So I'm curious how, my music and my videos are gonna evolve. I can even repeat stories that they told me that I find pretty significant. Like, one was this girl, in some of these stories they don't even have meaning, but this one girl, I met her at a coffee shop and we're talking, and via the couch surfing app with the hangout feature. And so we're talking and she was telling me this. She's like, I have this story, do you want to hear it? I go, yeah. And she goes, once upon a time. And I go, wait. I'm like, is this like a real story? And she's like, just listen. She's like, once upon a time there was this guy who lived in a village, and he was a hard worker and he always helped out the village and super nice guy. But there was also this princess. She belonged to a royal family, and the village was right next to the little palace that the princess lived at. And so over time they kind of met and got to know each other, but they couldn't really be seen together because she was a princess and he was a village boy. So time passes, fast forward, she needs a husband. And so the parents bring 3-4 men and say, okay, daughter, pick your husband. And she's like, I don't want any of these guys. She goes, but I do have a guy in mind. And they go, oh, thinking it's probably like someone from a different royal family. And she goes, he lives in the village right next door. And there's more to the story. She could tell it better. But I was like, okay, that's a good story. I've seen it in a ton of Disney movies as well. But then she pulls out her phone and shows me her home screen, and she said it was my grandma and grandpa. And I said, damn. She told the story better. But that was a good story. She also told a story how she walked up a Swiss mountain with just carrots and cucumbers because she was fasting. And bro, this story is crazy. She was walking up this mountain and she sees like these hikers with all this like hiking gear come, and they're like, hey, what are you doing? They're like, it's starting to like snow pretty bad, it's gonna get really cold. She goes, oh no, I want to go up to the top. I saw the top of the mountain and I want to go up there. And they're like, you have no hiking equipment and you don't have a tent, you have nothing. You have water? She's like, holds up a little thermos. And they're like, okay. They're like, you do what you want, but we recommend that you just turn around now. She goes, no, I'm gonna keep going. This is a true story. She keeps walking. Another hiker, hey, where are you going? I go, oh, the top of the mountain up there. And like, he goes, I've done this plenty of times and it's getting bad up there. He goes, I even turned around. She goes, well, I want to do it. So she kept going. And so she's walking, she's hiking, and it's getting cold. Her shoes get soaked. She has to take off her shoes, so now she's barefoot, which really doesn't make a difference because she said her feet were numb at this point. And her water was frozen, and her vegetables were also frozen. So she had no food, she had no water. And she finds this like rock up against like, it's like snow, and then like a tree. The trees would be like the giant boulder. So she climbs under there and she's like, if this snow moves, like this rock is just gonna squish me. And she's like, I would rather die that way than just die through hypothermia. And she was convinced she was gonna die, so much that she told me that she wrote a letter, or a goodbye letter, saying that she regrets nothing. She's always done everything that she wanted in life. She wanted to climb up a mountain and she did it. She wanted to travel to India and she did it. She did all these things. She wanted to drop out of college and she did it. She always did everything that she wanted to do, you know, which honestly, most people can't relate to that. So I was like, wow, this girl really did it. And she said, then she started feeling different sensations. She could tell she was dying. And she said at one moment she felt her body come, her soul, like she came out of her body. And she said she was looking at herself like a drone shot. And I was like, damn. It's different hearing this like on YouTube, but like hearing it from directly from a person who actually lived it is pretty crazy. So then she says, I just faded to black. And that was it. I think she said there was a light. Damn. I wish you could hear her tell a story. I think she said there was a light and then she went into the light. Oh. She said there was like the Grim Reaper came and she smacked him in the face. And I don't know if she said there was a light and she went into it or she just woke up. Let's just say she just woke up. But I do remember she said she slapped the Grim Reaper in the face. And she woke up in the hospital. And apparently what had happened was there was a helicopter search for 4 people. And 3 of them were prepared. Had hiking boots, tents, propane stoves, food to cook. And then her with nothing. Of the 4, 2 died. 1 was paralyzed from the waist down. She was the only one that was completely recovered, could walk, had everything. The doctor comes in and says, you're crazy, and repeats to the 4 hikers that died and everything. And she said, the doctor goes, I believe you owe me an apology. And she goes, apology for what? She goes, he goes, well, when you were putting you in the bed, you slapped me in the face. So she slapped the doctor in the face. But after she thought, since she was, you know, she was prepared to die because she had done everything that she ever wanted in life. She did everything that she wanted. She wanted something, she did it. And this is what started to turn different gears in my head. She goes, then I thought, well, I'm still alive here. What should I do? I've done everything that, you know, I wanted, that I'm passionate about. I think she's like 25. which, you know, over time she'd probably develop other things that she wants to do, but at that time, being that young, you probably don't think that way. But what I'm about to say is something probably I couldn't even think of if I was 40 years old, which was, she goes, now I want to live life doing everything I don't want to do. She said, everything that I thought was bad, everything that I thought I would hate, everything I thought was boring, I'm going to do that. So now her life passion is to do everything that she doesn't like, because she already did everything that she did like. So she'll look at different countries and be like, ugh, I would never go to that country. So then she books a ticket and goes to that country. And it's pretty impressive, you know, and there was no limit. Foods, drugs, everything, you know. She was super against it before, but now she's like, I want to try everything that I don't like. And she said her life has been way more fulfilled, way more satisfied. And I thought, wow, who lives their life? Usually we live our life doing everything that we want to do, but doing everything that we're afraid of or don't want to do is pretty crazy outlook on life, you know. And as I've been traveling, I'm like on day 80. I'd have to do the counting. Oh no, you know what? Okay, June, July, August, like 2.5 months I've been traveling. And I noticed when I was on fire in terms of like social skills and talking to like the most beautiful woman I've ever spoken to ever in my life, I got a cup of coffee and I sat down and I just thought, what was the difference between Michael day 1 and Michael day 58? And I had to really sit and I had to think. I didn't get more buffer. I still am. I didn't get a six-pack. I have a gut. So what was the difference? And the answer I came up with was I did less thinking. You know, usually if you go to a restaurant and you're just looking around the restaurant and a group of girls catches your eyes, or a group of guys, you just think, wow, that guy or that girl is gorgeous. I wish I could talk to her. And then you go, no, I can't just up and talk to her. That's weird. She doesn't know who I am. I'm in this restaurant. She's probably here just to eat. You start thinking. But at one point, and it hit me in Amsterdam, where I just wasn't thinking anymore. I just did. If I thought a girl was cute, I would just walk up to her, ask a dumb question. This bar's cool. Do you know of any other cool bars? Hey, I want to go to this area tomorrow. Do you know an easy way to get there? One I did was I was in a grocery store and there was these famous Tennessee, like, local, like, Little Debbie's, but they're like Tennessee. I forget what they're called. Gooby? I forget. Gooby cakes? Gooby? I don't know, whatever. They're sweet as hell. I can only eat half. And there's this super hot lady in the grocery store. I go, hey, do you live in the area? She goes, yeah, all my life. I go, perfect. I go, I have these gift idea chocolate that I want to give to my friend. He's from China. And I'm going to meet him in London. I go, would this be good? She goes, yeah, that's good. Or you can, she's telling me. Then we start talking. And I change the subject. And I get a number. But the point of all this was I wasn't overthinking. If I had a thought of that person's cute, or I should compliment that person's hat, or I should see if they're going to the same place I am. If you have that thought, and it sounds crazy, but if you have that thought for a reason. You know, you don't think, is that person going to the same place I'm going to? Every time you look at someone, No, you just do less thinking and more doing. And I think that was the sort of answer to holy ants. That is a lot. That was the answer to the question of what changed from day 1 and day 58. And it's easy to go back to day 1 version of yourself, because once you start getting rejection, you start thinking again. But then as you don't get any rejection, you do more doing again. So it's an interesting little battle that happens when you start doing this concept of doing and thinking. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not, because sometimes, and I've had this happen too, where I just walk up to a group of girls in London, and at one point they're like, "You're being annoying and you're disturbing us. Can you please leave?" I was like, this didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. So then it kind of sets you back a little bit, but then you get back to it. So then maybe you don't approach a girl, maybe you approach a guy, and you kind of get that energy recharged a little bit. Or you approach a grandma. The thing is, with the old ladies, you hardly get a no, you know? Because I think they just appreciate life in a sense of maybe they're just more doing. And that was another thing too, which was some people, although they like to help, I think they've come to a point where they're just like, you'll figure it out on your own. You know, it's like when you say you're gonna go to a different country and people are like, "Oh, so-and-so went there, go talk to them." And it's like, well, so-and-so's experience isn't gonna be like my experience. We may be landing in the same airport, but I'm turning left when he's turning right. And that's why he got his pickpocketed money, pocket pants. That's why he got pickpocketed. Is that the right term? It's hard. My English is going down because there's so many foreigners here. And I kind of have to just not use words bigger than 2 syllables and eliminate the 2's and the does and the A's. But it's interesting that people think everyone's experience going somewhere is going to be the same experience. It's kind of like saying, "Oh, you're going to go to college? You're going to freaking love college." I was like, well, you studied hospitality. It was fun. And I'm studying statistics, and I hate math. So I think it should be illegal to kind of state what you think some place is going to be like for someone, because personalities are different. Someone might say, going to, in the Philippines, Makati, P. Burgo Street is boring. Well, they don't really just up and talk to people. I up and talked to people and met guys from the UK, met a guy from India, met a guy from France. So for me, that street was fun. But for someone who's shy, it might not be fun. So as I'm traveling, one thing I'm learning is everyone's experience is different, and there's kind of no blanket statement as to why people experience a certain thing when they go to a certain place. And I realized this back in 2015, which is, it's not necessarily the place that makes something fun. It's more of the people in the place that make it fun. And the example was when I went to Nice in France. We stayed in this dormitory, and it was freaking hot, and the AC wasn't working, and there was a heat wave in France. And at the end of the trip, everyone was coming together and asking, how was the trip? How did you guys feel about it? Should we do it again? And everyone was like, "Oh, the dorms, it was hot. Oh, it was this, it was that." And then I raised my hand and I said, "Dude, I had the time of my life. Yes, it was hot, but we were 200 people, young people, in one dorm. And I talked to everyone, and I met some cool people, and I had the time of my life for 2 weeks. Looking back, like, still, that's like one of like the top 3 travel experiences. And then everyone changed their mind. Yeah, I guess you're right. We did all meet each other, and we met some people from England. We met a guy from France. So it's not so much the place that's going to bring you excitement, but it's the people. But typically, if you go to a place that not a lot of people go to, but you feel drawn to, you're probably going to run into people that are similar to you. So if you feel like you need to go to a village in Vietnam, it wouldn't be surprising that you meet someone 3 states or 3 countries near you going to that same village. But the issue is most people don't act on that thought, which goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is less thinking, more doing. Now, I'm not saying kind of do what I did and just quit everything with not the budget that you plan to have to travel with and just buy a ticket and go. But I did meet some really, really cool people. Had I waited an extra 2 months, I wouldn't have met them because their vacation was only 1 week. So, moral of the story here is less thinking, more doing, and go find your people, and you'll be happier. And here's a nice panorama of my hike back. A beautiful beach.